In this video, I went to Japan's very first food bank and spoke to founder and CEO Charles McJilton. As Charles gave me a tour of the food bank, which is called Second Harvest and located in Akihabara in Tokyo, he spoke of homelessness, poverty, the welfare system here in Japan, and food waste. These are not always the most popular issues to talk about here in Japan, but his perspective was really interesting. And for the rest of the video, please enjoy the tour and the conversation I had with Charles. Okay, great. Good morning. Thank you.
So my name is Charles McJilton. I'm the founder and the CEO of Second Harvest Japan. We are a food bank where we collect a lot of donations that come into us and then give them out both to welfare agencies, NPOs, faith-based groups, and also directly to people in need. And so today I'll be giving you a brief tour of our organization right here in Asakusabashi.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Yep, so if you want to step in here.
Sure, thanks. Oh, lots of food today.
So we call this Maru Gohan. It's a Saturday morning, and we're beginning the process of setting up for today. We will deliver food, or people come down and pick up food from us from noon until 6 o'clock today. We do that 4 days a week on Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and again today, Saturday. We do that. Each day about 150 to almost 200 people will come down here in that 6-hour period to pick up food from us. When they come in, you'll see numbers by each item there. That tells you how many items in that category that they can take. So their basket, they come in and take their items. They also have some frozen food right here that they'll be able to take with us. And when it's finally set up later today, you'll see that this section here will have bananas, will have bread. I can show you some bananas.
So the food that people can come to receive, what types of people will be coming in usually?
Well, we usually call them people.
Yes, people in need of food.
That's the basic category. That's a basic requirement. So, our slogan is food for all people, and so we really want to put the emphasis back on the individual to decide if they actually need food or not. So if you say, hey, I need food, that's good enough for us for the very basis of making the food available to them. Now, if people need food long term, so our basic commitment is for 2 months. Come down here 5 times over that 2-month period. If you still need food after that 2-month period, we have different ways of providing assistance to you. We would ask for a letter from some type of organization that you're working with, or some type of documentation that you're giving assistance, something that demonstrates that you either have a need or you're doing something about your problem, and then we'll continue to provide support to you.
Okay, I see. Thanks.
And so I was going to show you the bananas.
Oh, thanks.
So as you can see, the bananas
Look good.
very good, very good. And so part of the issue, in this case with bananas, this is kind of indicative of the system here in Japan, is that if something is not pristine from the consumer standpoint, then it won't be sold.
Right.
And won't be put out there. That's one side of it. The other side, bananas is a highly perishable product where they're constantly inbound and have to kindly turn it over. So again, there's nicer quality bananas that are already in the pipeline, and this has been pulled off either the shelf or it hasn't even gone out to the market, and it's just going to be destroyed. But as you can see, and if you eat bananas, there's absolutely nothing wrong with, if I were to open this banana right now, you'd be like, well, that's perfectly edible and
Right.
stuff.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. And
You received this as a donation from
yeah, this comes from Dole.
From Dole, for this case.
In this case, this is Dole.
Right.
Yep. And so for them, it would have been a cost to destroy this. And so by donating that to us, they can save on that cost.
I see. Nice.
Yeah. And so this is where we store some of our food. So think of this as a small shop. And this is what we call the backyard, a small
right?
shop where they have stuff. This is our walk-in freezer. So we do get frozen items from time to time. Not much in here right now, but every day, is different. What comes in and comes out. But we have some frozen fish in there right now.
Okay, so that's it. And it's a Saturday that people walk in. No, you said a few days of the week that people
4 days a
walk
week.
in. 4 days a week, right?
Yep. And so right now we're set up here that these organizations will come down and pick up food. We have for Okubo, we have for Shinjuku, we have for Sumida River. We're going to do outreach there today. This is for probably Sumida. Yeah, this is also for Sumida River.
So these are place names here in Tokyo where you're going to bring food to.
So we will directly distribute this to Sumida River. People will come down here and pick up food there. A different group in Shinjuku will pick up food there. In Okubo, there's a church there that provides services to people, and so that's where that will go
Okay,
there.
so they'll come and pick up the food, or
Individuals.
individuals will come get the food and bring it to their the destinations, and you'll bring that one, as you said, to Sumida River.
Yep. So the point of this is to say that this is B2C, direct to individuals. This is to other organizations who are doing outreach. The far one ourselves, we do outreach there, but to kind of indicate that a lot of things happening here. So you see here, this is also bread that will be used over across the street today.
Okay.
We have bread delivered to us by Yamazaki Pan.
So you put that out for people to use to take?
Yeah, it'll be
Yep.
put in our pantry today. And so this is also part of our warehouse space. Again, if you had been here 2 days ago, this would have been all full.
Yeah, when I was here once before, this was full of drinks, I believe.
Right, so as a warehouse, right, I mean, even though the name is Food Bank, we do not try to store food long term, right? It should come in and out very, very quickly. So here's a Saturday, and this is not so unusual. It's the end of the week for us. We're off on Sundays. The warehouse is fairly empty. Now later this afternoon, I will have a truck that will come in and deliver. Basically food comes in on a pallet, several pallets of food, and that'll be put right in here to start the next cycle next week.
I see, yeah. And last time you mentioned something interesting. There's like a kids cafe you had where you used food that was for emergency purposes to make lunches.
That's what they're doing right now, actually.
Oh.
You can see that happen. Hey, it's happening. So this is our kids cafe, and we're making bentos this morning. There's more of those bananas.
A lot of bananas. Oh wow, okay. Busy production line here.
So if you take a look at this box right here.
Yes.
I'm gonna step out here. So that box would be used in an emergency situation. It feeds 50 people. The clamshell that he has there comes inside the box. The white shamoji that he has there comes inside the box.
Okay.
Everything comes in there.
So it's
one
ready
set.
to go.
Yep. And actually you can see it right over there. It's one of those boxes, one set right over there. Takidashi setto.
Yeah, it's good for 50 meals.
Exactly. And so that's used in an emergency situation. I can't see the expiration on that. Hang on a second. So, down below one says 2024 June. So 2 years from now, it'll expire.
Right.
And so it was thrown away.
So this was kept by someone that wanted it for emergency purposes, like a 5-year storage.
Could be
stock,
5 year
right?
storage, and on the third year they're going to replace it.
And they
Exactly.
give it to you, and you make bentos for people that need it, right?
Right, exactly. So sometimes, most companies have a 3-day supply of food and water on hand. And so they rotate that on a regular basis. In this case, you just pointed out, maybe it's a 5-year cycle, so on the third year they're going to rotate it. So it still has 2 years left, perfectly fine. Sometimes a company will, or an organization will use some of the emergency food for training internally,
I
or
see.
let people take it home. That's fine. But you can see a 50 portion of this, right? Who's going to take that home and say, okay. And the interesting thing about this is that really, you only need to add water. You could add hot water and it'll cook faster, or it'll, reconstitute faster. But even cold water is fine.
And who will get these?
Good question. So
Food
again,
today. Who-
yep. So today at noon, a little bit after noon, we're going to deliver these meals up in Ueno Park. Then also in Sumida River. And then some organizations will, again, come down here and
Oh,
pick
I
up
see.
food from us to take these bentos with them.
So a combination of people coming to get it and you going to places.
No
that-
one comes here to get it.
Oh, no one
No
comes here.
individuals will come here to get it.
I see.
But it will be used for distribution. And so what's kind of amazing about this right now, this operation, is we used to have a bona fide central kitchen to do this in. And there was much better because we could prepare a really nice hot meal for people up in Ueno Park. A nice cup of soup with a lot of health, or even sometimes curry with rice, and then other things. So they're gonna get this bento. They're gonna get some bananas. I think these are apples. No, these are kiwi. We'll get some kiwi for the people up there. So one of the things that it should be emphasized, when we deliver food up in Ueno Park, not everybody there is living on the streets. In fact, I would say 90% of the people are not living on the streets.
That's interesting, right?
Yeah. So I know you may say, not you, but anybody might say, oh, there's 200 people up here. That doesn't mean there's 200 people, all 200 people are living on the streets. And even Sumida River, where we will deliver today, I would say easily probably the same percentage, only about 10% maybe, truly living on the streets.
Okay, so there's
Some
people, yeah.
some are formerly they lived on the streets. Some 60 to 70% are former day laborers. A high percentage of people are day laborers, people on probably public assistance or welfare, seikatsu hogo, and so they know about it. Some people come down just to socialize, to see people that they know. That's another way, the reason why people come down there. And so yeah, so I want to kind of put that out there because sometimes people go, wow, there's so many homeless there. It's like, okay,
Right.
got to rethink this because
Yes.
not all those people represent
I think
people
this
who are
is an
super-
interesting thing for this video is that people often also think that Japan is mostly middle class people, pretty well to do, but there's
It
quite
is.
a few people that kind of are having trouble making ends meet as well to some extent. Or
So this is where it gets a little bit complicated, and it's important to kind of clarify some things here. Well, Japan does rank maybe 4th or 5th in OECD nations for relative poverty, right? At about 16%, right? That's fairly high, right? Which means about 20 million people live below the poverty line. But the poverty line is defined as 1/2 of the average national income. Now, out of that 20 million, there are 13 million that live on less than yen 1,000,000 a year. Okay? Now, not to complicate for it, but just I think it's important to know the nuance here is that not all 13 million people live in a situation that we might consider to be poor. Let me clarify what I mean by that. Quite often the case could be you could have a scenario where you have a single mother with 2 children, okay?
Yes.
Her income is below 1 million, for example. Maybe she's on welfare, maybe she's getting public assistance at some level, but maybe, but then she's living with her parents. So her rent is basically covered or minimum. Her food is minimum. She has some form of, I hate to use the word daycare, but people can look after her children if she has to go some other work.
okay,
I'm not taking away the fact that it's difficult to be a single parent, but I am trying to put it in the context that she's not just this lone person out there trying to scratch out a living on 1,000,000 yen a year. Now, there are women like that, so I don't want to say that, but I do want to kind of paint the picture that when people say, wow, Japan has 15%, it's like, contextually, it's probably closer to about 10 to 11%.
okay, that's very interesting.
Right. The second thing people need to really, and I can't emphasize it strongly enough, poverty in Japan is not about homelessness. You can look at the media, you can, particularly the English media, and people will talk about that all the time. But if you look at the numbers, 2003, 25,000 nationally of people living on the streets. Today, less than 4,000 nationally. In Tokyo, maybe 1,200. 1,200 people out of a population of 12 million.
So we can.
San Francisco, LA, New York, 1,200 people probably within a 3-4 kilometer area probably live on the streets.
So basically, we could say the Japanese welfare system kind of helps people enough, or there's enough jobs?
So that's another good question. So out of the roughly 50,000 households that would qualify, I think, if you could say, for welfare, only half are actually on welfare. And this is because welfare in Japan is premised on two fundamental concepts. One, that your family should take care of you first. That would be a fundamental question any welfare official asks you. How come your family's not helping you? Do you have any brothers and sisters? Can we contact them? So the policy of the national government and local government is that welfare is meant at the last resort, meaning you have exhausted all that your family should be taking care of you. Okay? The second one is that you, again, last resort, should not have no resources. Right? So if you own a house, that's a resource. So let's say your partner ran away from you, but you're living in a house. That's a resource. Let's say you're living in, you're living in the city. You have a car. That's a resource. You want to save money. You can't do that. That's a resource.
I see.
So and these are different ways that people can either be barred or prevented from applying for welfare, or reluctant because they don't want to have the welfare officials contact their family, or be a burden on their family.
Right.
So, while there is a welfare system, right? I would not call it generous, and I would not say that it's, open to anybody, easily to be used.
Okay, thanks. Can I just take a little video?
Yeah.
Good morning. Take a picture of production line if I may. Good morning.
When you're recording?
YouTube. Charles, thanks very much. Can I just maybe go here where it's a little quieter and ask you one more question about how you started? Because that's part of the story, is that you started this in Japan as a foreigner, which is very interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to share one last thing that might be interesting to show your audience. So this is the map of the Kanto area, and the pins represent different locations that we provide food assistance. Again, either they come down and pick up with us in Akihabara. Our largest warehouse is just over the border in Saitama. Some pictures from there you can see. And we have another smaller locations in Kanagawa.
Right.
So we serve about 300 locations in this great area here. The other one we've been involved with since 2020 is Okinawa.
Okay, that's interesting. It's far away from here.
It is far away from here. So we go down there once a month and deliver food throughout the prefecture here in Okinawa. Obviously here in Naha, but we go as far as Nago, Henoko, Okinawa City, which is in the middle.
Same type of need, sort of. Just
greater need. In Okinawa, poverty rate is at 30%.
Oh, it's a higher rate down there.
Yeah, nearly double. And 85% of the service industry is related, has some income related to tourism. Inbound tourism is gone, as you know, because the country's been closed for the last 2 years. And so they've been extremely hard hit. So let's go downstairs. Do you want to acquire a place to chat? We can go down there. And these are some kind of thank you notes from different agencies we deliver to.
Nice. Looks like some kids made these.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
Yeah. It's always nice to get.
I did read you have the official pamphlet, as it were, and there's some nice notes in there as well of mothers or people saying thank you and for helping them get through a tough time and stuff.
Yeah, certainly. That's always nice to get that kind of feedback that the food that we're providing has some type of impact. And again, all of this would have been destroyed had it not been for the goodwill of the donor to say, hey, Second Harvest, we trust you. we're willing to provide you with this food, and then we take that food and again, different ways we
So
get
it's
it
sort
out
of
to people.
about avoiding food waste is a big issue here as well, I guess. I mean, you said this would just be thrown away.
It would be thrown away. So on that side, yes, in a very, very small way,
A small way, okay.
it does that. But in terms of having any impact on food laws, it's zero.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah. And so I know people like to frame it that way, and I'm not pointing to yourself, but
No, I just thought it might be, yeah.
The media likes to frame it that way, and I really want to be very clear. This is there's no impact on that
Okay.
issue at all.
Oh, great.
Because you're talking about 6 to 18 million tons. So if I had a jar of beans, if you imagine my hand here, a jar of beans, right?
Right.
Representing 6 million tons, just 6 million tons. One small bean this size represents what we did in 1 year,
Is that right?
right? One bean.
Okay. So it's minimal then. Okay.
If I took that bean out, you would never see it. If I took out 20 of them, meaning you got 20 of my organizations this big, you wouldn't see.
Okay. Oh, it's not
That's why I
much.
say it's yeah.
A drop in the bucket.
It's a teardrop in the ocean.
Okay. So
That's a good one. I'll have to remember that one.
Okay. Well, it's really interesting. And so maybe if I could just ask you,
Yeah, please.
you started this organization.
I am the
and you're a
founder,
foreigner,
yes.
which
I
is
am
really
a foreigner.
interesting. So maybe you could just tell me a little bit about
Never been mistaken for Japanese, except for the middle of the night.
So can you tell me sort of maybe how you started it and how?
Yeah, so we, in 2000, a group of people had gotten together in an area of Tokyo called Sanya, where I had lived at that time, who were doing different programs involving food. And we all said, hey, if we collaborate, we might be able to collect food more efficiently. And so we worked for 2 years as a loose coalition, if you will, and I was certainly the token gaijin of that group. But after the first year, I certainly felt that, hey, we could do much more. And so we started meeting with a group of foreigners, created a business plan. That was in the summer of 2001. And we incorporated on March 11, 2002 as the very first food bank in Japan.
The very first food bank in Japan. That's pretty incredible considering it was already the 2000s. So I would have thought there would be one before then.
You would think so, but no. No,
So
there
that's
wasn't.
amazing. That's an amazing story. You
I
started,
mean, certainly, our concept was not new to anybody. I mean, people always knew the food was being thrown away, and really, if we could collect that food and give it out to people. In fact, that was what the Loose Coalition was about, in some sense. How could we gather food and share it more efficiently amongst ourselves? Part of the reasons why we incorporated and we went our way and stuff was really behind our slogan of "Food for All People." Because during that 2 years, it became more and more food sometimes for some people in some situations.
Oh, okay. Right.
So when we
That's your slogan?
incorporated,
No.
we said, we're food for all people, man. If
Okay.
you want food, come on down.
You get food.
Yeah, I mean, because it's evolved since then, become a little more hopefully sophisticated, but think of it along the lines of this is a public asset. This belongs to the community. We are just the stewards of this public asset. And so a public asset like a park, a library, are things that generally are funded by the government for the community. In our case, is that our funding is by the people. And this is a resource for the people. And so just as, those other type of public assets are accessible to anybody, we want to do the same thing. And so just as we go to the library, nobody says, are you really going to read that book? Do you really need that book?
Mm-mm.
Books are only for poor people. We want to say, hey, if you have a need,
I see.
you're just going to go down there. Now, again, we do recognize two things. One is that just providing you with food all the time is not helpful to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Second thing, there's a limitation of what we can do.
Right.
So as we stayed in the pantry situation there, where we'll provide you with assistance for the first 2 months, but after that, we want you to take some type of action. It helps us to kind of feel what we're providing is helpful to you in the long run, right?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, yeah, I got it, yeah. I mean, okay, it's interesting. So there's a lot of things you covered, which I think perhaps people have misconceptions about Japan, or just, as you mentioned, homeless, the welfare system. So It was very interesting. Yeah, thanks. Well, thank you very much for today.
All right, thanks.
Have a good day.
Yep.
To get back to Akihabara Station, it's a straight line following this road, which is just under these train tracks, and it's about a 10-minute walk. And so I'll just leave a little bit of footage so you can see what the area is like on the way back to the station. Thank you for watching.
get